Regardless of how well you know your stuff in the digital SAT English section, if you run out of time, you're not going to be able to get your highest score. Let's talk about 5 ways you can save time in the English section. My first tip is to read only one sentence for sentence boundaries questions. So if you recognize that you're dealing with sentence boundaries, aka punctuation, you can see in the answer choices here, that's definitely what we're dealing with. You don't need to read the whole thing. You just need to read the sentence that has the underlined portion. So if I start, I could also ignore this. The team was able to determine how current-driven mixing varies across regions and what. Okay, so able to determine, this is a verb that connects to the first part, and it also connects to this part. So we have 2 verb phrases, meaning we don't need any punctuation. Our answer is D. We'll do one more example here. I'm just going to start here, and while we're at it, we could also save time by ignoring introductory phrases. Saville is not the protagonist of Shelley's novel. As the recipient of the letters that frame the book's narrative, she's the occasion of it. So if we read it like that, we would need a period or a semicolon. We don't have that option, so we're going to get rid of A and B. Then with rather, Saville is not the protagonist of Shelley's novel. Rather, as the recipient of the letters that frame the book's narrative, she's the occasion. Okay, same deal. We're going to need either a semicolon or a period, so our answer is C. My next time-saving tip in the English section is to ignore the notes on rhetorical synthesis questions. I will purposely show you this with 2 hard questions just to show you that it works regardless of the difficulty level. So we're going to ignore these notes. We're going to go straight to our question and answers, and we're really just focusing on the goal. So what is the goal? Explain a disadvantage of relying on audio features to predict a song's popularity. Many popularity predicting algorithms are based on songs' audio features. No, that's just telling us what it's based on. Algorithms based on audio features may misidentify the main features of a song, making such algorithms less reliable predictors of popularity. That seems like it could work. It definitely explains a disadvantage. Audio features describe acoustic traits. No, that's just telling us the difference between tags and audio features. The MSD's descriptive tags are reliable predictors. No, that's telling us that these MSDs, whatever they are good at predicting. So the only one that actually gives us that disadvantage is B. Just like that, we got our answer. I'll show you with one more. Again, we're going to ignore this. What's the goal? Emphasize a difference between the 2 books. Cool. Although both books are powerful works, Equiano's book is an autobiography while Sinclair's is fictional. That does exactly what we want. It emphasizes a difference. They may have written about different topics, but both influence readers. That one is more focusing on a similarity. The 1807 Trade Act resulted in part from a book. This is talking about differences in acts rather than differences in books. Interesting Nature of Life and The Jungle are 2 works that contributed to new. Again, it's talking about similarities, so our answer has to be A. The next time-saving trick is to pick the odd verb out. If you notice that you're dealing with a question that includes verbs, usually you can get away with simply choosing the odd verb out and you'll get your answer. And by odd verb out, I mean if there are 3 verbs that are plural and one of them is singular, choose the singular and vice versa. In this case, we have are, plural, were, plural, have been, plural, answer should be was. And indeed, it is. Let's look at another one. Focuses. We could say he focuses, so that's singular. Focus. They focus, that's plural. Are focused, that's plural. Were focused, that's plural. It's going to have to be A. And indeed, it is A. And it's not always going to be that clear, but let's see what happens if it doesn't work out so easily. So already served, that could be singular or plural, right? He already served, they already served. B is singular, he was already serving. C is going to be singular, he already serves. And then D again is going to be either singular or plural. They had already served or he had already served. So all you have to do in this case is realize that instead of subject-verb agreement, you're dealing with tense, and you're going to have to investigate the tense. And here we could simplify things. Basically, this guy, something, 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 when he joined the New York Knicks. So basically, we're saying something had already happened by the time he joined the Knicks, so he had already served by the time he joined the Knicks or when he joined the Knicks. My next tip is to skip all of the reading type questions. So let's say we're going through, we've already gotten through these vocabulary questions, and now it's asking us about the main purpose of the text. Anytime we're being asked about a main purpose, a main idea, I would count this as a reading type question. So we're going to mark it for review, skip it. Based on the text, again, mark for review, skip it. Mark for review, skip it. And we're going to do that until we get to the next set of questions that go quickly, which are conventions of standard English. And then you can proceed with answering these questions, which go much faster. And then when you're ready, you can come back to those ones that are going to take a little bit longer. Be strategic about which questions you do first. I would highly recommend skipping all of the reading type questions and saving them for the end. When you do get around to working on those reading type questions, you can save time by reading the question first. This is going to tell you if you're looking for a main idea or a detail or something else. So here it says we want to know what can be concluded about the diminishing popularity of the portrait miniature in the 19th century. So I'm going to focus on a conclusion about the diminishing popularity. So I'm kind of eyeballing and I'm looking specifically for a claim. And I see photography's impact may be overstated. That is a claim or a conclusion. So I'm going to look for that. Photography's impact may be overstated. Factors other than the rise of photography may be more directly responsible. That would go in line with photography being overstated. Although portrait miniatures became less common, they were widely regarded as more artistic. No, that doesn't line up. The popularity likely persisted for longer than we've assumed. No, that's not my anticipation. As demand decreased, portrait artists shifted their focus. Nope. So A lines up with what I just said. What happens if you do have a main idea? Well, you know you're looking for a main idea. Sometimes you can get away with finding the main idea in the first or last sentences, but honestly, you're probably going to have to read through everything anyway, but at least we know what we're looking for. So here, because it's science-based, I would think the main idea is probably the conclusion. So if I were to try to go quickly, I would say last sentence, he found that feathers of high elevation have a greater proportion of warming and also tend to be longer, providing a thick layer of insulation. So that conclusion might be the main idea. A investigation shows that some species have evolved feathers that better regulate the body temperature than feathers of other species. That's true. Then it says contradicting previous predictions. So what were the previous predictions? The prediction have predicted that birds' feather structures vary with habitat temperature. That's actually what's happening. So it doesn't contradict. So we'd get rid of A, even though the first part was right. Found an association between habitat temperature and feather structure, among them lending new support to a general prediction. There was definitely an association, and the general prediction was that they vary with temperature, so that seems to line up. To be safe, we would want to go ahead and eliminate C and D as well, but after we did that, we would come to the conclusion that B is correct, and we would be right. Now that you've got some time-saving strategies, you need to practice using them. At the time of this recording, we are actually offering free proctored digital SAT practice exams that use the same interface as College Board. Just go ahead and use the link in the description to get registered for a free practice exam right now.